Hello, 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 and welcome to the Drag Race RHAP here on Reality TV RHAP Ups. I'm your host, Liana Boris, and we are here to talk about the finale of Canada's Drag Race. We have made it. We've made it through All Stars. We made it through the regular US season, and now we are finally done with Canada's Drag Race. And we are wow. I'm just so excited to talk about all of this, to have our winner, Priyanka. What's her name? As as our first winner. Yes. And of course, I am not alone. We are keeping it in the family tonight. So we have for you, our fabulous panel. First, Beth Dixon. Beth, how are you?
I am doing great. We've made it to the end, and I just wanted to know I'm not here to podcast about Drag Race. I'm actually here to learn English. That's what I'm going to be bringing.
The
in my
Rita
last episode. Yeah.
Approach. Yes. Okay. Well, as long as you don't dress like an alien, then I think we'll be okay. But we'll talk about that. We also have for you Aman Adwin. Aman, how are you?
I'm great. We made it. We made it through. And I feel like the ending was I was satisfied. I mean, I feel like I would have been satisfied with probably 2 out of 3 of these queens winning. But yeah, I feel good, and this was worth the wait.
I think
3 mega season of Drag Race.
Honestly, really, like back to back to back to back. I feel like I was expecting a Rita Baga win.
Mm-hmm.
So Beth, when Priyanka is announced the winner, I was like, wait, hold up, wait, really? I mean, I'm super happy with it, but I was just expecting Rita.
I really think that Rita's downward spiral in the past couple episodes, and in my opinion, we'll get into, I'm sure, she was probably the weakest of the 3 in the last challenge. And by probably, I mean absolutely was the weakest of the 3 in the last challenge. I think that she lost it at the end. She tripped over a few hurdles and just never recovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aman, were you surprised by this result?
I wasn't surprised. At the end of during the penultimate episode, I was thinking, oh, you know what, this is probably going to go Priyanka's way. But then as I was watching this episode, I was like, you know what? I mean, there's a case for her to win here. And the judges were even talking about how they appreciate the old campy style of drag that she brings to the table. But I think once the final challenge happened and I saw Priyanka's, and she was the first person to go, I was just like, yeah, the writing's on the wall. Like, there's a pop star on stage right now. Like, there's no way she's not winning.
I think even during the mirror talk, they talk about that. It's like we have the French diva, the pop star, and the rock star. And this was the pop star challenge.
100%.
And Rita struggled with the choreo, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But yeah, I mean, I think ultimately I'm really happy with the outcome. I'm really happy with the season as a whole. And I think this has been such a fun adventure. And I'm hoping that they will do a season 2. Although I will say it was kind of funny to see at the end when Brooklyn Heights crowned Priyanka, when it was like Brooklyn's never won herself. There was something sort of weird about that. I was a little uncomfortable, but like fun in a funny way. I don't know. Anyway, I'm on for the.
She's fine. She's fine. She's the host of Canada's Drag Race. This is her crowd.
Oh, she's like the real winner, right? And we obviously doing like Work the World and all that stuff too. Like those queens, they're doing fine.
They're good.
All right, okay. Let's go through and talk about some of the things from this episode. Because I felt like one of the things I noticed in terms of the Rita Baga story was it felt like this was almost the cocky Rita in the same way that we were getting the cocky Jimbo from last week's episode. So even though I think I expected Rita to win, because this was sort of the narrative, and it starts right away with Rita being like, I've won 3 challenges. I'm going to take the crown here. Her verse is about that, Beth. It was just so much, I want to win. I want to take this crown home. I want to win.
You know what her problem was that she focused so much on the statistics of this rather than opening herself up to who she is. Like Priyanka and Scarlett Bobo were very good about saying, this is who I am and this is why I should win because of me. And she won because of a resume. And like your resume doesn't necessarily define you. It just defines how well you've done in this process. And like, while that is obviously important for Drag Race, like you want to have a good resume at the very end, she didn't get to show who she was enough, in my opinion.
You didn't think
Yeah.
those like stage interviews?
Yeah. Ugh, probably not.
No.
No, I think that I don't think her problem was so much hubris. I really do think over the past few episodes we have seen more of who Rita is, but it was just a little bit too much too late, if that makes, or too little too much too late. My gosh, maybe I am here to learn English. My goodness.
Yeah, we'll teach you. We'll teach you the phrases. But yeah,
you.
Amon, what were you saying about Rita?
I mean, yeah, like she sort of like really started to come into her own as like a character on the show in the end of the season. And so I feel like that juxtaposed with uh how well she's intending to do on the vocal part of the challenge, I felt like maybe the producers just kind of wanted to just set up like this, you know, this disconnect where she's like, yeah, challenge wins, challenge wins, challenge. I'm probably gonna be able to take this, and then show how well she's gonna be at singing, but then to put that next to the dancing, it's like they just wanted to show like, oh, Rita might feel like she has it in the bag because of the competition wins, but really, can she really? It's all about you got to be able to bring it home. You know what I mean? You can do all this all this dancing and everything in the beginning, but if you can't bring it home, not a good look.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is that yes, you can have a bunch of wins, but if you don't perform well every single week, then, and that's why Scarlett Bobo is here. Like Scarlett Bobo didn't win a single challenge until last week, but she consistently performed well. And so I feel like Rita, this isn't necessarily her strong suit. And so I think in this particular challenge, it was something that was a struggle. I think that maybe just combined with like, I'm going to win the crown. I don't know. It was like weird. I couldn't help but feel, she was like, when I win the crown, that doesn't make me want to give you the crown. I mean, I don't have any authority over it, but I was just like, I love Rita. And I just thought that it was something that really stood out to me. And I thought it was kind of an odd choice, but anyway.
I just feel like maybe if we had like seen her slow rise to power throughout the season, and maybe you're like, yeah, you're the queen. But yeah, I feel like it was kind of like all too much at the end, and it's like, well, I mean, I like Priyanka too now. Like, let's hold up, let's pump the brakes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, we've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but the whole final challenge was to perform You Wear It Well. So the RuPaul song where the queens had to write and record their own verses. And they sort of had this, it seemed like they had like 3 different like little sections for their verses. And then they of course had to learn choreo and perform and do all of this in like 24 hours, which is baffling. When Brooklyn comes in, introduces the challenge, is like, yeah, so tomorrow you're going to perform it on the main stage. I think it just reminded me of how quickly they have to turn these things around. And so especially when you're a queen like Rita, or if I were to for some reason ever perform, like that's not me. I can't do that. I can't do it that quickly. So I think my heart goes out to that struggle for the quick turnaround.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Definitely. I think the biggest problem that Rita had, and that a lot of people have with these kind of challenges, is when you're given choreo and you're not somebody who's a dancer or even like good at movement in any way, you have to be able to stay in character and just work through it and make it your own thing and like hope that you get back on track. But the moment that we see you thinking, the moment that we see you go, oh, I missed a step, or whatever the case might, like, you completely take the audience out of it. And it's something that's a really hard struggle. And some people are naturally born with that, and some people have to work on it. And so when you're at the end of a marathon competition and that's the last thing you have to do, and the crown is like relying on how well you do this, I can understand getting in the moment of it.
I think Brooklyn made that comment, which, by the way, Hollywood Jade and Brooklyn and their like matching velour tracksuits or whatever that was going on during the rehearsal.
It was great. I was here for it. I loved it so much. I was like, bring me back to the 2000s where everybody was wearing the velour tracksuits.
Yes. They were in their bag this whole episode.
Brooklyn was just living for that moment. But I think that was absolutely some of the critiques that were given, right? That was like, we don't want to see it in your face. Even if you are going to mess this up, it doesn't matter. Like, just keep going. I think Asia in her season, isn't she the one that messed up during the singing performance?
Oh yeah.
The Cher one that was really bad. And she's like, I just screwed up all those words. But like, I think it's part of the reason why she ended up staying too, is because she just sold the whole thing of the mess up. Which, there were no egregious mistakes, I don't think necessarily in this performance, but you could see the wheels turning, I think, a little bit, especially for Rita.
I felt like the one thing I noticed that was weird is that there was a portion where it's just like the RuPaul portion of singing where I couldn't tell if the queens were supposed to lip sync that or not, because like one person was, I feel like Scarlett was the one that was lip syncing and the other two weren't. And I was like, so who's wrong here? Like I immediately clocked that and I was like, ugh, they should have that consistent across the board if you're going to lip sync to that portion or not.
They did a lot of, Aman.
I was just gonna say, like, my thing about these challenges, these singing challenges with RuPaul's music, is just like, girl, you've been doing the same song for like it's that Jasmine Masters meme video. You've been doing the same fucking shit for 12 years. But you mean to tell me in 12 years you have not learned but 2 songs? So you're doing the same shit. It's just like I just kept hearing Jasmine in my head the whole time, because these songs have been getting recycled and tossing. It's the main stage walkaway song. It's the song of the last challenge. It's just like, oh my god, like, can we, RuPaul? You got all the time in the world. Write us something new, please.
There's another Read You Wrote You.
Hire someone to write you something. But yes, because those are like unique songs, right? I don't know, maybe since Canada's Drag Race, they were like, we need to do something RuPaul related so you could do the RuPaul song. I don't know. Well, Aman, what did you think of the performance in general?
I thought that it was befitting of the finale. I had a lot of fun watching the 3 of them sort of like culminate from the rehearsal to the that's why it's like one of my favorite parts of the episode is watching the rehearsal take place and then seeing the level of work and intent that had to go into it to put on the final product. It reminds me just so much of like being in like theater myself. It's just like you always like love to see the transformation. But I thought Scarlett Bobo, she really brought it to the table. I was getting like Lady Gaga Judas music video vibes from her section of the dance. So I was just like, okay, these girls came to play, because we don't really see them dance too much this season, really, do we? So this was kind of like the first time, and there's like, it's only 3 of them that you have to focus on. So I just thought that the performance was like really high energy. All of their looks look really, really good. I was just very invested in all of this, and I was kind of like wanting to dance with them. And that's the mark of a good performer, is when you inspire people that are watching to be like, oh, okay, oh.
I was I'm bopping along, like, yeah.
I particularly loved Priyanka's part in the song, because she like was able to make callbacks to things that happened throughout the season. I felt like that really made for a cohesive narrative and performance. So I think that's probably why she probably was able to edge them out a bit, because it just seemed a little bit more well packaged to me, at least.
I totally agree. I felt like Priyanka had the strongest verse. I felt like Scarlett had the strongest overall performance, and I can't say anything strong for.
Oh, nothing?
Okay, I will say when it came to singing, she sang the best out of all of them, and she had the 3-part harmony and everything. So that was great. That's what Rita did. But.
Okay, so first of all, Aman, I completely agree with your points about Priyanka, because it was like, I liked her lyrics the best because it was callbacks, because they were catchy. I liked the way that she broke it up, the singing with the rapping. I thought that was so fun. But Scarlett Bobo really just killed it in the performance. The only thing I could think when I was watching the performance was, if I watched this and I had to pick a queen's show to go to, I would pick Scarlett Bobo's hands down. I was like, this is so much fun. She has so much energy. I'm pretty sure I wasn't like super happy about the fact that she was in the top for the last dance choreo performance challenge, but now I kind of get it. Like, if this is what she brought, then I can see how magnetizing it would have been. I think probably I thought Lemon did really well, and she kind of got lost in the shuffle for me a little bit, but this was, I mean, hands down, I think absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
I was trying to figure out how I wanted to phrase my comments about Rita, because I think, yes, she sang the best. She was there, that she looked absolutely fantastic.
Did you just say she was there?
Yeah.
She sang the best. She was there.
She was there. It was so hard, because I feel like the editors almost kept cutting away from her. like trying to hide maybe that she was messing up or something like that.
Mhm.
It felt like they did a lot of like very close one-on-one shots of the queens,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which to me, that shows you don't want to show the whole product.
Mhm.
And because probably one piece of that product, like maybe that's not like quite right. That being said, like I think Rita, this is not Rita's strong suit, and that's fine. Like everybody has their
Mhm.
strong suits. That
Mhm.
type of camp, like no one else can do. I mean,
Right.
like
Mhm.
she's been able to put together things that neither of these queens could do, and they talk about that they're a diverse, really diverse group in terms of strengths and weaknesses.
Totally.
So I feel
Mhm.
like then having this type of performance be the final one, kind of. It disadvantages queens where this is not their strong suit.
I
Mhm.
totally agree.
So I think that's a little challenging.
I'm also
Yeah,
going
but
to
then
go
it's
on.
like
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
but-
Emma.
I was just gonna say that kind of like brings in that conversation again of like, if you're coming to Drag Race, then you got to know what kind of comps are going to be involved, and I don't know, take a dance class or something, like learn a few,
Yeah.
new skills before you enter the competition.
YouTube's
So
a wonderful thing. A shuffle ball change, figure it out.
yeah, a little pot de bourrée, yeah, exactly. So I get it. Like it definitely does put queens at I mean, we saw. I mean, one of the most egregious ones to me in recent memory was it All Stars 3?
The one where is it where they do the leg kick? Is that what you're thinking
And BB
with
with BB
I
Zahar
was just
Benet?
sitting here thinking about how BB like kind of flopped like a fish backwards.
and
it
they
was
had
great about it is
no
they
problem.
went 1, 2, 3, 4, and they got progressively worse as they went
They
down.
had no problem throwing her under the bus. The edit was like, FBB, like, look at this shit. This is
They were like, look at Kennedy, look at Shangela, look at Trixie. Oh,
they were like, if there are any BB fans in the audience, if y'all had any hope that she was winning this season, no.
look no further than the blah.
Oh, it's so funny
my
because like
gosh.
that's when they do the kick up and like Kennedy hits right at 12 o'clock. Like then Shangela is just a little bit lower, like 11. Trixie is serviceable. And then BB Zahara Benet just like falls back and is like kicking like she can't swim.
Just like a cockroach, like on her back. It was like
the turtle that fell over is just this was not that bad, right? Okay, so
No.
this was
No.
not.
I did want to
that
say,
bad.
for the record, I didn't think that Rita did a horrible job by any means. It was definitely
Yeah.
serviceable for like what she was able to do. And what I do want to say is I think at first I was almost kind of put off in her performance by her steel look, but then I felt like she just got fiercer as it went on. And I just was like, oh, that's like some French Canadian, like, look at me kind of like fierceness. And I loved it.
Yeah, I think like each of them sort of embody the look that they're going for. I mean, in terms of like what they were talking about with the rock star, the pop star, and the French Canadian diva, because I think that they really just, it was really cool to see all of these different types of drag represented and different queens with really different backgrounds. And so that was super fascinating. So the other thing that I will say is we're starting to have the curse of the black bodysuit. So I don't know if either of you have seen this, but essentially it's this concept that in the final performance, if you wear a black bodysuit, you won't win. So people have started to put together like memes. So like Jujubee from last season wore a black bodysuit, didn't win. Who else falls prey to this? From Katya wore a black bodysuit. Shangela wore a black bodysuit
in season 9.
Shay in season 9, yeah, that one was like at the early stages of the conspiracy theory. Monet Exchange wore a black bodysuit, didn't win. So Rita Baga and Scarlett Bobo both wore black bodysuits, sort of. I don't know if that falls.
Damn.
Well, I mean, each show has to have one conspiracy theory because clearly the first person to walk in the room isn't, disqualified from winning. So
there's been actually quite a few people who walk into the room first and they win. So maybe it's you want to make sure you want to pay off those producers. Priyanka just added to another one.
I think you want to be first or last, I feel like, right? Because who else? I feel like Evie was last. I feel like Raja was last, I know, in her season. Something to it. Okay, so what else? I don't think that the song in and of itself is necessarily going to stick with me like a lot of the other finale performance songs. I don't know, it just wasn't necessarily as catchy, but we'll see. I didn't think that Sorry About It would like get stuck in my ear, and now it has, so who knows?
I was just gonna say, last week you were sitting here like, there's this verse that I've been listening to nonstop of Sorry About It. So cut to you like commentating on like Big Brother and just being like, oh, Priyanka in Drag Race said this.
You know, her lyrics said this. Which, oh my gosh, did you like Priyanka was like talking about during her interview, talking about SpongeBob or something like that? Like that was her children's like television show gig or something. I don't know. I need to read more about that.
I feel like she was like probably one of the people who like introduced the cartoons that are going to be on like a children's channel. So like I always think back to like when I watched Nick, how they used to have like Stickley Von Stick or whatever his name was, who was like the little popsicle stick guy. Remember?
Yeah, I know you're talking about like the clay, like claymation.
Yes!
Yeah, I know you're
and
talking
all
about
that kind of stuff. So like, or like there would be people who are like, they have like their little Nickelodeon stuff and they're like, no, it's time for SpongeBob. And like SpongeBob comes in. So that's what I wonder if she did that.
Maybe we'll have to see. Let's see. What else do I have? I'm just like going through my notes. The pleather jacket, pleather shirt that Rita wore during the choreo. Fascinating.
I was here for that Matrix look. I was like, if you can't do the steps, you might as well look fierce.
Yeah. Do what you gotta do. You gonna go down looking good.
I mean, it would have been hot as hell to try to learn choreo in, but you know, you do you.
She's like wasn't gonna change. All right, well let's do you guys have anything else you want to say about the performance? Otherwise we'll talk about the looks.
No, it was just fun. Priyanka looks great. She looked amazing. She should consider wearing red hair more often.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she really did look fabulous. I mean, I think they all did. Ugh, they're all so pretty.
This was, as I got thinking about it, I think this is the right top 3 out of the 4. And like you guys, we all talked last week about like, oh, Jimbo going home. Like, did that make sense or not? And as I looked at this challenge, there was a part of me that was like, I really wish I could have seen what Jimbo could have done with this challenge. And then at the same time, I was just so happy that we got to see this 3.
Do you remember Jimbo from Sorry About It? There's like one scene where they cut to Jimbo and Jimbo's just like slowly swaying back and forth and is like isn't even doing the choreo at all. It gets worse every single time I watch it, I swear. So maybe
what would even be his shtick? Because you got the pop star, the rock star, and the
clown. Yeah, that's what it would have been.
Like, yeah, the drag clown coming for the crown. Oh, yeah. See, I just wrote half a verse. There you go.
There you go. Okay. Well, we get a few more things that we'll get through here. So the first is we'll talk about their finale looks. So we get to see all the queens come back for a kind of reunion-ish thing that was pretty garbage, but fine, whatever. So I didn't pull all the looks, but I do have from our top 3. So we can go through those. And then if there's any other looks that y'all want to talk about, we can bring that up as well. So let's start with Rita. So she comes out in the alien look, which she had to explain it for me because I didn't remember that her entrance look was the alien Amon. This was apparently like the full glow up, which then made her line in the verse actually make sense as well.
Yeah, when you have you don't want to have to explain so much because it's like sort of like having to explain a joke. If you have to explain the joke, it's no longer funny. Okay, cool.
Amon, I think you're cutting out a bit.
But not again.
Yeah, so if you are not a Big Brother listener, Amon did a fantastic job on the podcast, but unfortunately was plagued with technical issues on the Big Brother recap podcast from Sunday night. So we'll work on getting him back. He seems to be frozen at the moment. But
at least he's smiling. Oh no,
okay.
there you go.
Okay. All right, Amon, continue. Let's try
am I
it.
back? Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know where I cut off, but I was just going to say that this is best drag, right? I just feel like I don't know why I feel like I want more. I don't know if it's more. Maybe it's because I've been watching Drag Race now for 6 months straight. And so like my taste level is just astronomical at this point. I just felt like this was sort of like, I mean, the biggest takeaway here is the green skin. That's kind of like where most of the work went for me, and everything else is sort of like, okay. I mean, I get that you're an alien, but is this best drag? Is this finale look? You know?
Yeah, I actually really like this. I didn't mind the alien look at all. I think the gown's gorgeous, and I think just adding just like another campy aspect on top of it really just defines who she is. What I don't like about it is the wig. I wish there was a different wig that went with this. I like the creativity of how the wig is styled and such.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like it goes with the green skin and the dress, like it goes with one or the other. It would have been nice to have a wig that like cohesively pulled everything together. But she did a great job covering her body, because green can look patchy, a la Alexis Michelle when she tried that out.
I was about to say.
Or even Alaska trying to do blue makeup for Riju Rochu, like that looked patchy as hell as well. So like she did a wonderful job of making everything look covered. She is acting the hell out of the runway. This was actually what my favorite part of her in the episode was, this look. I think it's a gorgeous gown. Like if she didn't have the green on, that gown by itself is gorgeous. And I will also say this, Rita has not for me had the best fashions on the runway.
Oh my God. Sorry. When they showed when they were doing the critiques or something, and Jeffrey Wertown was like, oh, she like brought it every look on the runway. And one of the looks that they showed, one of the ones that they showed was like that blue, like spandex dress with like the coat over it, where we were like, we wish you would have kept the coat on.
Yeah. Can you keep it on, please?
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
But no, like she hasn't brought what we normally expect to see on the runway. And I felt like this was the first look, in my opinion, where I felt like she was going outside of just camp or just like, I don't know. This to me was the most elevated she's looked on the season. And there have been times where like she won construction challenges and I didn't think she should. I didn't think she should have won that first challenge, which was a construction challenge. And so obviously the judges are seeing something that maybe I'm not, but I really liked this look. I liked the skin with it. I wasn't affected by that.
I definitely thought it was a choice to go for something like this for the finale look. I think what she was really trying to do was to do that full circle, like her type of camp drag. And your comments about the makeup, Beth, I think are definitely true. It's like, because it's not quite a gown, right? And then she takes the skirt off later. Actually kind of liked it better with the pants than the skirt. So I don't know. There's something like I love the idea. I love the concept, but I feel like there's something just off. Maybe it is the wig, Beth. Maybe I just need to like rip that off and put a different one on, because there's some sort of disconnect that like doesn't make it look necessarily as seamless as I want it to be. And so I feel like because there's something sort of missing here, it doesn't feel as best drag as it could be. I mean, that being said, like if she came out wearing this at a show, I'd be like, yes, queening all over.
Exactly.
So
like
right,
throwing money on the stage. So
yeah, so maybe it is. What do I know? Maybe it is best drag. All right,
you know what it is? She's got like a rat tail in the back. Like that's what it looks like
when she turns around. I actually kind of like the way the front is styled, because she's got this like jewel up in front.
Cool.
But yeah, she's got like a little bit of, it's like way too
I
long.
like how the wig is styled. I just don't like the highlighter yellow on top of blonde
with green
skin and like a blue.
If it were like some sort of like bluish, purplish space, spacious kind of thing, it'd be kind of cool. But
it matches the dress. That blue, like whatever that blue purple in the dress is. Yeah, I completely co-sign that. All right, our next queen to walk the runway is Scarlett Bobo. Looks are a no-no. Now, Beth, was this look a no-no for you?
It wasn't a no-no. I expected more from her, to be honest. I don't hate this look. I don't think of it as best drag. It doesn't fit her around the waist properly. It's too baggy. Like she should have, like, I don't care if it's a safety pin, girl. You just take that so that it's nice and snug, because you've got the body to carry that off. I also felt like the arms are also a little baggy, like with the skin colored or the skin toned colored portions. There were times where I could see it like gathering a little bit. But I love the kind of like tiered, almost like mullet kind of aspect of it. And I also wish that she hadn't worn those boots with it. I wish it had just been like a stiletto versus a boot. But I love the wig, love her makeup. I love the concept of it. There were small things that I think that just could have tightened it up a little bit for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first of all, the Scarlet Bobo looks are a no line. That is from the Canada's Sorry About It song. Like I actually think like she's probably, I've really enjoyed a lot of her looks on the runway. This one though, I do agree with you that it's like a little too loose. But she takes it off, right? So she has the reveal later and I was like, oh, so that's why, like maybe why it didn't quite fit. I don't know, maybe she lost some weight when she was there and so it's a little bit looser. But I mean, this look for me, Amon, is very Scarlet Bobo. Like it's very punk princess.
It is very Scarlet Bobo. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it is like I think what the problem here is for me is that some of the eliminated queens that come back and show out look better than the final three, and it's really making me. If I didn't see those looks, then maybe I'd be judging on a different scale. But in comparison with some of the other more extravagant best drag looks, I just feel like this kind of like pales in comparison because I feel like you're right. I mean, I feel like the skirt area sort of does seem to drag down a little bit. And maybe you're right. Maybe if her legs were free of the boots, it would be a little bit less crowded down there. I mean, it's not an ugly dress. It certainly is pop punk princess. And her makeup and her wig are fine. I mean, it is like, around the top. It's a little ill-fitting, but I kind of feel similarly to this with Rita. It's like, is this really your best drag? This is best Scarlet Bobo.
I feel like her snowball look that she made last week, I kind of liked more than this. But I think part of it was the reveal, right? So I think she was thinking, we're all probably going to lip sync, or if I'm in the top two, I want to lip sync and I want to have a reveal. And this is my reveal outfit. So I do wonder if that was sort of part of the reason why she ended up choosing this look in particular was because of that added bonus.
Which it very well could be, but I want a reveal where I can't see it coming.
To be fair, I didn't see it coming in this.
I guess to say like one where I look at it and I go, are you wearing something underneath? For example, Shangela in the All Stars 3, you knew a reveal was coming. Like I wish I could have seen what that reveal would. I mean, I know what it was now, like in like past interviews, I know it would have been her popping balloons and such, but like at the same time, I'm like, this is the finale look. I think the same thing with Trixie. Like Trixie's like final runway look was so gorgeous, and then it was just like, and now I'm going to get crowned in like a robe and like a satin robe, like okay, and cowboy boots. So I just felt like for me that even if this was a reveal, like there's ways I feel like you probably could tighten it up here, and I don't know.
Or at least pin it for the runway part and then unpin it when you're going to do the reveal. Because I do agree. The fact that it was ill-fitting around the waist was like very distracting. All right. We have one last amazingly fantastic look, which when Brooklyn is just like, I'm sorry, but she looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
That was such an amazing moment, Amon, because we have to talk about Priyanka coming out in this absolutely fabulous gown.
Yeah, Priyanka has made it clear that she wanted to represent for, I believe she's referring to herself as Indo-Caribbean, represent that demographic of people and represent the feminine quality that rests within her. And I'm sure, it kind of it's probably kind of similar to how Shay promoted one of her looks to like really be a love letter to Black women. I feel like this in a lot of ways is probably Priyanka doing the exact same thing. So yeah, it was just, gorgeous. It's not really a bad word that I can say, and not because I'm afraid to say anything bad about this cultural moment. It's just like, she looks gorgeous. I mean, the skin that like is like highlighted with that red and then those jewels. It's just she looks like a woman. Like I don't see a drag queen here. That looks like a woman here. Like the female illusion is here. So I just love how I love how like tasteful it is, but it's so sexy. It's like it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
This was absolutely stunning. When she rounded the corner, I audibly gasped. And I watched this like when I first woke up in the morning to be like, I'm going to watch this and then I can watch it again. And so like, this is what woke me up out of the entire episode. I was like, oh, okay, I'm here. What's going on? Whoa. This is absolutely gorgeous. And I think the thing that really sold it for me more than anything, besides her commentary talking about representing West Indie women and culture and such, and her abode. No, I can't speak English.
You really are here to learn English, Beth.
What? No. Oh gosh, I can't think of the word. So her allusion to it, and her homage, not abode.
Her house.
I was wondering. I was like, where did abode come from? What was the substitute?
Homage is kind of close.
Homage, what was that? Anyway, I just really loved how she performed on the runway. Like it was very we're used to her being incredibly animated and like all over the place. And this for her was really I feel like culturally relevant and serious and beautiful and serene and all of these beautiful things. And it was just showing us yet another amazing side of Priyanka. And so I just so appreciated this. And like the explanation of the name Priyanka, why she says, say my name and all those things, or what's my name, not say my name.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like it was so cohesive for her. Like everything was so intentional and everything had a reason for it. I just felt like at this point the edit was just like, okay, this is this queen's story. She's the star of the episode. And I just felt like she was really, like while she usually is a bit more animated and a bit more, flamboyant, I just felt like this particular presentation was a culmination of all of them being like, I'm grown now. I am Priyanka. Hear me roar. So it just really worked.
And I watched the first part of the very first episode to just like remember where these queens had come from. And Priyanka is the first one in the workroom. She even says, what's my name? Like it's, so I couldn't remember it when they did the story about it challenge. Like, why does she just keep saying, what's my name? But that was her thing. And she made it work. She brought it here full circle. I think in a more memorable way than Rita Baga with the alien thing. Like, I think maybe it was referenced and like, we just didn't hear about it as much, but this truly felt like it came full circle and really was, like Aman was saying, that sort of cohesive narrative.
Gorgeous.
Okay. Are there any other looks that either of you would like to talk about? Because we do get the reunion and we have all of the eliminated queens walk the runway, all showing off their looks.
Yes.
I liked Jimbo's because I didn't think that he was. I don't know why. I should have thought that there was a reveal coming under that, but the outfit and the fluffiness of it really I just thought, oh, that's Jimbo just being a clown, and then he drops that thing. I'm like, oh, like. So I liked that one. Lemon's was kind of. I feel like Lemon should have switched her. If I can remember her opening her workroom look. I could be wrong, but I feel like those should have been switched because I felt like that one was like a little bit more, final. Like this is the final form of Lemon to me. What else? Oh, I loved always forget how to pronounce it. Anastasia.
Anastasia. Amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, so that was the gold one.
Yeah,
right?
that's like that, and that's what I see in my head when I'm like best drag. Like I realize that not everything has to be like shiny, but it's just like the statement of it. It was so just bam, and I love that. I love that.
I love Juice Box's gown as well. First eliminated queen comes out in like that almost like light violet kind of dress with some silver embellishments on it. Absolutely stunningly gorgeous. And I really liked, I mean, I'm not as down on the general reunion portion. It's kind of nice to see, everybody be like, oh yeah, I remember you.
I just wanted more drama, I think.
I wanted drama
remembered,
too.
I remembered that the season didn't actually have that much drama, so
No,
it's fine.
They really didn't.
The one time I did like was, sorry, Beth, to cut you off, but the one time was when Priyanka was just like, so Kind, were you just doing that for the television, like to be a bitch, or are you actually a bitch?
And she's like, I didn't see myself as a bitch. I'm like, girl, roll the tapes. Cannot wait for you to see it.
But like, that's the worst answer, because just say, yes, I'm doing it for the television. Because if you say, no, I wasn't a bitch, literally everybody thought you were. So.
Yeah. And then I like that Jimbo quoted her like actual confessional, which was like, it seems my sister Kind isn't the nicest sissy in the bunch or whatever. Like, I was like, that's exactly what Jimbo said at the time. But it was really nice to see all the queens gathered together and just have like that moment of like, affirming their presence on the show as the first cast. Like, I really liked that. And the last person I want to talk about was Boa. I loved Boa's look. This was exactly the kind of thing that the judges wanted to see, which is this glamorous side of her. Her body looked amazing, and like loved like the slicked back hair. I just thought like this was the side of Boa we really didn't get to see on the show, and I was really thankful that we had the opportunity to see that.
Me too.
I think those are the moments where you're thankful that you get to see the queens come back one more time, especially because they can sort of hear the critiques and then get ready with those critiques in mind, like come prepared with something. So Man.
I was just going to say, I just hope that in the future, I don't know what it's looking like in the future because of COVID and everything, but I do, there's sometimes there tends to be like this thing between American reality television and Canadian reality television, where obviously it's a bit of a smaller market. So maybe the money isn't all the way the same, but sometimes I'm like, no, those Canadians, like they deserve to have like their moment. Why don't you fly them all over to Los Angeles and have them be in the Orpheum Theater as well? Like, why do they have to be relegated to the main stage? Like, if this is an all-star season, or if you don't want to fly them to LA, why don't you just, build another, go to some other famous theater in Toronto or something so that they can get like this experience? Like, once again, maybe I don't know what's going to look like in the future for COVID. This is the inaugural season, so they're just testing out the waters. But I feel like in the future, if people respond well, I just want to see these queens get the same amount of opportunities that American queens get, because there's a market for them, so just they should be able to capitalize on that.
Toronto's a huge drag city, and so is Montreal. So it's I definitely agree with you.
It just felt like just a tad bit like there's no one there to see them, like it's just the judges, and the judges are cool. Like, I'm sure it's nice to be able to see Brooklyn's face every day. I'm sure it's fine, but like I was also kind of expecting like RuPaul to like maybe
show up.
Oh, my favorite was like I listened to What's the Tea, the episode where Michelle talks about how she went on Canada's Drag Race to judge, and RuPaul's like, how is it? I was just like, this. I was like, how do you not know how one of your own productions is?
Right? Like, come on. Like, I know that it says Canada's Drag Race and not RuPaul's Canada's Drag Race, but we all know that it's your show, RuPaul. Like, you show up every episode. You narrate the why can't you can't give them a little video, a little FaceTime, something.
My favorite part is that when they did the introduction for the finale, it was obvious RuPaul said every name before they even did it, just edited in which names made it to the final three.
They filmed all of those videos in one sitting. Like 100%. Makeup doesn't change, outfit doesn't change. So it was almost like when your GPS is reading off directions to street signs and like it doesn't really know how to say it. It just knows all the syllables. And congratulations to Priyanka. Like that was, I mean, obviously it wasn't that bad, but that was kind of how it felt because it's so clearly spliced together.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, for sure. I think that would have been a really nice touch, especially because RuPaul was in. Now I didn't watch, I watched the UK version, which obviously RuPaul was a judge for. But I don't know for like the New Holland version, for example, like now that there are so many different iterations, Drag Race Thailand, like what can RuPaul do? What should RuPaul do? Where does RuPaul draw the line? I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting as the franchise expands. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't have to be everywhere, right? Like that's just too much for one person. But I feel like you have to at least make your appearance on the inaugural season of whatever it is, because he was there for Drag Race Thailand. Obviously, he was there for UK.
For the
And is
finale,
that
at
it?
least, right? Like, you
Mhm.
think? Yeah, for now, at least. Then
Yeah,
Holland
like
is gonna be the new one.
I don't know. Just if it were me, like if I were RuPaul, you already know that you have your problems with some of these queens. Like if I were on Canada's Drag Race, I'd be like, RuPaul can't. Okay, well then fuck him too. Like I don't know. It's just not a good look in my opinion. He might have been busy. I get it, but like, give us something. This is your empire, you know. Treat her.
Totally.
There's one other look that I do want to talk about before we move on, and that's Alona Verley's
Oh,
look.
yes.
So she posted this on her Instagram as well, and actually, we're gonna go ahead and do our casuals corner. Oh my God, this is not the B&B. We're doing our charities corner now because her outfit was based on First Nation. So she's First Nations. So this is based on the First Nations dance attire, and she's doing the hand over her mouth, which is a symbol of this movement where essentially, like, thousands of Indigenous women and children have suffered violence and like gone missing or have been murdered. There is this, I think it's called the Hell's Highway or something like that. Highway of Tears, a stretch of highway in northern BC where like thousands of Indigenous women have gone missing. And it's like
wow.
this, it's look, I mean, the United States also, but like Canada doesn't necessarily have a great history with First Nations. The US clearly doesn't either. And there's still so much injustice that's going on. And so the fact that Alona made this political statement on television, I think is absolutely empowering. I think it's fantastic. I think that it's something that is baffling that crimes like this still go on and tragedies like this still go on today. And so I'm really just inspired by her. And so the charity that I want to talk about this week this is a little bit of a mouthful, okay? But the website is www.mmIWG-FFADA, or you can just Google like National Inquiry Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls, and I'll post this in the show notes as well. But essentially, it's a charity that's trying to figure out, like, actually investigate what happens to some of these women and children that go missing. It's just like such a baffling situation, really bone chilling, really terrifying. So she looked fantastic, and she made a political statement. I think that's something that we definitely need to talk about.
Absolutely. I
Most
live
definitely.
excuse me. I live very close to the Akwesasne Reservation, which is on both the United States and in Canada. And I know that this is also something that they are supportive of as well as this particular movement. I've also seen quite a few of the Akwesasne women do very similar things like on TikTok. And such like that. So I'm happy that when Alona came out, I knew immediately what it meant, but I also knew that this is probably something that's the first time that many people are seeing what the hand over the mouth means, specifically a red hand over the mouth, meaning so much more. And it just was a wonderful representation for First Nations people and some of the struggles they continue to go through. And yeah, I'm thankful that we had this moment, and I'm thankful that we're highlighting that charity.
Yeah, 100%. All right. The reunion. So we've talked a little bit about the reunion. Is there anything else that you guys want to mention about that? I mean, I thought the All-Stars one was probably more interesting, but because there was, I think, more natural drama, whereas this one, it was a lot of love, which is what it should be. Even though it's like a reality TV viewer, I was like, give me more. But it was really nice to hear, especially like with Kiara talk about her relationship with Rita and Lemon and Priyanka. And I thought that was just really, really heartwarming to see.
It was really heartwarming to see the queens also validate Juicebox as a first boot. And we don't see that in a lot of different reality shows. The only other first boot that I feel like gets a lot of attention is Pork Chop from season 1 of Drag Race. And I feel like this is a really wonderful way for it to be more organic rather than RuPaul just being like, pork chop, like all the time, like this was a nice way for the queens who are her peers that work with her, that know what kind of drag queen she is, and say like, it was so heartbreaking to see you go first because we know what you have to bring. I thought that was just such a wonderful moment to see.
Yeah, and I think
that was going to be what I brought up too.
And she was somebody who I didn't want Lemon to go home, and I'm happy that we didn't lose Lemon, but I would have liked to have seen more from Juicebox because I think that she has a lot to offer, especially because I've seen now a lot of the queens work with her. Like she's done shows with Priyanka before, and so she's clearly in this space, and she's someone who I think just got a bad break that first episode.
Agreed.
Okay, well, we get the final lip sync, which, I don't think really means all that much. I think the decision is probably already made, but all three of them get to perform. This is the first time. Beth, your prediction came true. Scarlett Bobo is lip syncing for the first time in the finale, and the song that they do is You're a Superstar by Love Inc. And so, this was fine. I thought they all did a really great job. Aman, again, I don't think it matters much.
I feel like I wanted a different song, although I can't really say that without offering a different song for them to do it to. You know what? They should have did something to Dua Lipa. She's, relevant right now. You got a lot of like high, fast-paced, energetic singles that she's got moving right now. I just was like, I wanted to connect to the song, and I just wasn't connecting to it. But other than that, Scarlett killed it. Definitely killed it. Priyanka was fun. Rita was fun. I thought that all of them, showed out. And I think that Scarlett in particular knew that, like, if there was anybody that might be able to snatch it with this last hurrah, it would be her. So she really put her all into this.
I loved that slide that she did that I felt like went up all the way, because normally we see the slide come at us from down the runway, but she went off to the side, and it's like you can almost gauge more how far she slid. Now I went back, I actually watched it a couple times just to watch the slide.
It's like, did she grease up the runway beforehand? Because she just, that momentum, she really gets going. Just
if it had been me, I would have stood up, and I would have had holes in like the knees of like what I just slid on. So just saying,
tore up. I think this was great. They all, I think, have their own ways of doing lip syncs that's all very emotional, very connecting with the song, very upbeat, high energy. And so I think this was just a great way to conclude the season.
Yep.
Well, guys,
can I actually say something about one of something that I felt like I really connected with was not only in their final speeches that they say of why they should win. Scarlett brought up a lot about non-binary, trans, AFAB, which is assigned female at birth, for those that don't know, queens, those that don't get a platform all the time on Drag Race or ever on Drag Race. And I loved, we've seen this theme throughout the season of Scarlett really speaking out for the entirety of the queer community, not just gay men or people who do drag. And it was really nice to just see her really incorporate that into why she wants to be Canada's first drag superstar. And that really touched me. There's a couple of amazing AFAB queens called Drag Coven. For anybody who doesn't know, they're based out of Toronto, but they're actually really good friends with Brooklyn Heights and a lot of the different drag race queens. They've done a lot of different work. They travel a lot. And I follow along with them. One of them is Courtney Conkers, and she has had quite a bit of backlash, specifically in the Toronto community, where there's still a lot of misogyny within the drag community. It is not at every single bar that she goes to, but it is very much seen as like, you're not doing drag and you're not welcome in this space. So to see someone who is in the top 3 of Canada's Drag Race be able to speak out for all different drag artists, whether they're kings or genderqueer or whatever the case might be, it was really, really heartwarming to see that. And I just wanted to acknowledge that.
And she's somebody who I think does a lot of activism, or at least that was for sure part of her story in these last couple episodes as we got to know her a little bit more. And so I think that's, again, really cool to have somebody like that as a representative on your television screen, because it's showing not only do I stand for this, but I want to stand up for people who are even outside of my small circle, who represent the larger community as a whole. And to have her articulate that, I agree with you, Beth, I think is really empowering, and something, you're not always going to be able to represent every type of person in the final 3. So to have somebody speak on behalf of other groups, I think is also very necessary.
Right.
Guys, we did it. We survived.
That was the
You guys
quietest
are like,
warp I've ever done.
it's been a very, 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 very fun ride, and I hope that everybody is still continuing to enjoy the show. I hope that everybody is enjoying Drag Race with Las Vegas. I might pop in for an episode or two to see what's going on over there. But this 6-month ride has been quite the journey. I feel like I have learned a lot about the art of drag in the past 6 months and the community as a whole.
Yes. So we are finally done with all of our Drag Race coverage, I believe, probably for the rest of 2020. So there is definitely a season 13 that's filming for Drag Race US. There's rumors to be another all-star season. So we will be around. Don't worry, Drag Race will be back at some point in time, but we are going to be taking a step down, taking a little bit of a breather, because I think we all need that. And we will catch you all when Drag Race comes back. So thank you everyone for listening to everything that we have done this season. I hope that you enjoyed all of the guests that we brought on. That was also really nice to talk to so many members of the class of 2020 and get all of their insight on the seasons of Drag Race. So that does it for us. Beth, what are you up to? Where can people find you on social media?
I'm going to be sleeping. No, I'm just kidding.
For real.
You can follow me at AugustaWind11 on Twitter and on Instagram, as well as my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/AugustaWind11. I'm also on my weekly meltdown covering Big Brother 22. Tomorrow's our Feeds rant show, or tomorrow being Tuesday is our Feed rant show. So I'm sure that we'll have a lot to discuss then. And just generally helping out with Sequester. And if anybody wants other recommendations of shows, or if you have recommendations of drag shows or LGBTQ competition shows like Legendary or anything like that that you want to bring to my attention, please tweet them at me. I would love to see them.
And Aman, what about you?
You can find me at Amon Adwin on Twitter. Most likely talking about BB22 as well. Also have my Glee podcast with Matt. We are going strong into season 5, so check that out. And that's it.
You guys are really plugging through those. I'm so amazed. When you were like, yeah, we record like every day. It was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, we're on season 6 now, like almost halfway through season 6. So we're almost done. It's kind of crazy.
How many seasons was there? Was there 7? 6? Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, you are almost there. Okay. And you can find me on Twitter at Liana RHAP. I am podcasting about Big Brother. We are doing the RHAP BB&B. So Mike Bloom and I got together with Phil T from the class of 2020, and a special guest, Rob Sesternino, crashed the B&B to break down Cody Calafiore's acting history. So that was a really fun and, of course, incredibly stupid time. If you're looking for more Big Brother coverage, so of course we have all the content that Rob is doing and that Taryn is doing, but also the B&B as well as Why Blank Lost are both covering Big Brother, doing extra coverage to just get in the more serious and the more silly side of Big Brother. So definitely check that out. You can find that in the Reality TV Wrap-Ups page, the Big Brother feed, and I think that's it. So last plugs for this season: become a patron. If you want to support all of the wonderful things that we are doing, that Rob does, you can support us by going to patreon.com and support Rob Has a Podcast. That is what really allows us to do all of our fantastic work. Leave us your star ratings and reviews on iTunes, or rate that podcast. Huge shout out to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes, and we will talk to y'all next season. We're going to go sleep now. Bye-bye.